From the Rider University Athletics Hall of Fame, I'm Olivia Hoff.
And I'm Matt Metzger. Welcome to the Rider Sports Report.
Let's take a break from Rider Sports for a while and turn it over to Travis Hastings and the Run Sports analyst for a roundtable discussion on who the worst team is in the NFL.
How's it going, Rider? I'm Travis Hastings, and you're watching the Rider Sports Reports Roundtable. With me today, I have Kevin Rafferty, sports editor for the News at Rider. I have Sal B., host of Who You Startin', and I have Dan Petrino, host of All Fired Up. This week's topic is who is the worst team in the NFL. Guys, who do you think is terrible?
Well, I'm going to have to say the St. Louis Rams. Offensive line, awful. They're just, Steven Jackson was at one point one of the most premier running backs that were in the league and, averaging over 1,000 yards a season, and now he's not doing anything. I mean, his line's leaving holes. He's getting taken up. Receivers, besides like Avery, who do they really have? And Avery's not even, a great receiver. And their defense is awful. Averaging 17 points a game. They're letting up 17 points a game. And the reason that's bad is because when your offense can't put up as many points as your defense, then your team is just terrible, as you guys would say.
The Rams are bad, but I would say the Browns are probably a worse team than the Rams. First of all, Bree Quinn didn't do anything last year. He's not going to do anything this year. He hasn't shown up at all yet. The only game they won was against the Packers, and it was what, 11-6. They didn't get anything done, and this is the year when a player on that team needs to stand out and carry that team because there's no star players that are stepping up and doing anything.
Agreed.
Right. I'm gonna have to go with the Oakland Raiders, guys. This team doesn't have a quarterback. Jamarcus Russell is nothing. The first overall pick, what has he turned into? A player that cannot even hit an open receiver. He can't throw the ball to an open receiver. That's
agreed.
He should get benched. And they don't have a running back that gets more than 80 yards a game. And their leading receiver is their tight end, Zach Miller. He gets, 5-6 catches, maybe 80 yards,
He's
and a touchdown on a good day?
Right. He's their leading receiver right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and even he is not putting up good numbers. Right. And with the loss of McFadden and their defense, I mean, besides their cornerbacks and defensive backs,
right,
their line awful, linebackers, nobody notable, nobody.
If you can give them a bright spot, it's their defense.
These three teams that we're talking about, everything's going wrong on the teams. But the one thing, none of them have a quarterback that's getting anything done. They can't call the plays right, and they're making dumb mistakes that are putting them in that last place spot. I think all three of these teams have basically the same record.
Okay, knuckleheads, closing statements.
Closing statements. The Rams are the worst team in the NFL, according to what I have to say. And another team that's lacking, I think, Kevin, you're going to mention the team that's good but not good enough in the New York Giants, so I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay. I'd just like to say about the New York Giants, they started off the year, they were playing bad teams. Their first 4 games, they were playing bad teams. That's why they beat them. Now they're playing teams that are notable and that are leading their divisions, and they can't hold up. This year, it's their defense. They lost their defensive coordinator. They're not doing as well as previous years, and it's because their defense, and it's because they can't stop a rush. When it comes down to it, the Giants are one of the worst teams in the league.
My final thought is the Oakland Raiders, your front office and your coaching staff, has brought a storied franchise down to one of the worst franchises in the NFL. Tom Cable's out there hitting people. I don't know what he's doing. And Al Davis, you're not fulfilling your role.
No,
as the owner.
when you're drafting nothing but wide receivers, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta draft defense.
Exactly.
Defense wins games.
Yep.
Gotta talk about defense.
Well, that's all the time we have this week. We found out who's terrible and not terrible. Watch next week as we talk about Thanksgiving and what's better, the food or the football. With me today was Sal, Kevin, and Dan, and I'm Travis Hastings, and you're excused from the table.
So we heard about the Browns, we heard about the Raiders, we heard about the Rams, we heard about the Giants for some strange reason. But Olivia, who's your pick for the worst NFL team?
I'm sorry, Matt, but I'm going to have to go with the Giants. I'm going to have to agree with them on that.
And I'm going to have to say the Raiders. Just because in an organization like that, if you do something wrong, you're going to get knocked out. And that just can't happen. But moving from the NFL back to Rider University sports, we're going to take a look at the last regular season game for the women's volleyball team as they went against Marist. Let's see how they did.
The women's volleyball team wrapped up their season with a loss to Marist University. Even though Rider caught up and won the second match, Marist managed to steal the last game.
We were prepared because they run a lot of slide hits, and we prepared all week in practice for the slides, and we tried to do the best we could in the game with the blocks and being in the right position to dig up the slides.
The win will help out Marist to go farther in the conference.
It wouldn't help us get into the tournament, but it would knock Marist out of the MAC tournament, and that would cause a lot of upsets. So that's what we were just trying to do.
The season consisted of matchups against similar schools to Rider.
Just to try to do the best that we could and try to win. Our first game was against Manhattan, and we went to 5 with them, and we lost. And then the next day we played Siena. Those were our first 2 competition games.
The game was the last of the season, bringing much reflection on the upcoming year.
Next season, people can expect us coming out hard, us coming out strong. We're going to be very much different. We're losing 4 great seniors. We have really big shoes to fill, but we're going to do the best that we can, and we're going to come out them next year.
This is Shaquille Sutton, reporter for Rider Sports Report.
Although fall sports are coming to an end here at Rider, you can still stay up to date with all the news and game day results at www.gobronx.com.
Switching from volleyball now to the ice surface, it's rivalry week for the Rider ice hockey team as they took on the TCNJ Lions this past Friday at the Laux Ice Center on the campus of Lawrenceville Prep. Let's see how the Rider Bronx and Lions did in their first matchup of the season.
Thanks, guys. This week I'm on location at the Laux Ice Center in Lawrenceville, where our own Rider ice hockey team will be taking on their rivals, TCNJ. This ice may be really cold, but this team is fired up.
We just got a forecheck. We are the better team. We have the better record. We just have to stick to our game plan. We can't play down to their level.
I think we should use our speed and our power, and our goaltend's better than that, so I think we get some good shots on, we'll be able to put the game away.
In years past, when we did have tough games versus them, we played down to their level, and they made us pay for it. And then the playoff game last year, we realized that we were the better team, and we played like we should. So if we stick to that tonight, the game will fall in place like we should.
The game started out with great intensity as Rider scored early with a goal from Frank Garvey. But TCNJ fired back as Scott McClintock scored, and at the end of the first period, it seemed to be an ice match. So right now we're at the end of the first quarter. The score is tied 1-1. This crowd is totally fired up for Rider. They want to see this team win, so I really hope they pull through. They're playing excellent defense, so we'll see at the end of the game if they actually pull through and take the victory against TCNJ. The game then continued with Rider scoring 3 goals from Frank Garvey, Andrew Michael, and Nick Saviano. And TCNJ scored 2 goals by Eli Klein and Scott McClintock. The intensity began to rise on and off the ice in the second period. As we came to the final period, there was a scuffle and even a goal from Eli Klein from TCNJ. But Rider came out on top with 2 goals from Mike Junod and Brian Folks to win the game and end the first part of this rivalry against TCNJ.
Just, they kept it closer than we thought they were going to, and we know we had to step it up to beat them. So I think everyone did, from our freshmen to our seniors, everyone really played their best game tonight, and we were able to win the game.
We thought that we were the better team throughout the game. We knew that if we just put a couple goals in, that we were going to break them down. First period was tied. After the first period was tied, we knew if we just popped a couple goals in quick, they would shut down, and basically that's what happened. If you let a team like that hang around too long, they can surprise you. But we took care of the job.
I think we played pretty tough. There's some things we need to work on in practice. From our back checking to having better position in defense. But I thought we played a good game, and we should be able to beat them again next time.
The thing is about making the playoffs in our league, if we play every team twice that's in our league, and if you can beat them both times, you really secure a spot in the playoffs. So you really don't want to split with a team. You don't want to lose both, or you don't want to go 1-1. So the second game's probably going to be bigger than this game, because if they get a split, then they're right back in the mix for the playoff spot. So
it's always cool to play in front of big crowds, you know. For the TCNJ game, there always is big crowds, and just win the game in front of them is just...
crowd, especially when we dominate the crowd. I mean, we had 85 to 15% TCNJ Rider fans. So, I mean, it always helps having more fans for us. So.
Our Rider University ice hockey team played an amazing game tonight, offensively and defensively, against TCNJ, winning the game 6-4. They play them again in another 2 weeks, and we'll definitely be here for that one. Don't worry about that. Those TCNJ fans, yeah, they kind of ran out of here in a hurry. Don't worry about that. We'll see them in 2 weeks. This has been Tiffany Pukas for the Rider Sports Report.
That's it for the show this week. I'm Olivia Hoff.
And I'm Matt Metzger. From everyone here at the Rider Sports Report, have a great week, Rider.